we're in the woods right now. We don't know what's going on. We try to do the same exact thing they tried to do back in the 90s, but I don't know if we can do the same thing or not.
I'm so startled.
It's Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, we saw the new Hillary Clinton movie called Blair Witch.
Oh, no.
The other copycat movie called Witch, or The Witch, but you get the idea.
Yep.
Alright, so, hi, welcome to Anchor Reviews. This is on Unscripted. This is Tyler from Anchor Reviews, and I have some guest stars with me.
Steven from Steven Lawson Studios.
Luke from a channel that I don't use anymore.
I like that title. Alright, so our review for Blair Witch. Now, this is a sequel to the Blair Witch Project from 1999. If you want to see my review and Steve's review on that, you can click on the link below. Now, there was another sequel, I haven't seen this one, called Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows, which from what I've heard, there's not even a book in that movie, so false advertisement.
That was so bad. I remember actually seeing that after the first time I saw the Blair Witch, just like playing on Sci-Fi Channel or something, just for a marathon. And I caught, I think, like the second half, and the end literally looked like the Scooby Gang ran into the Blair Witch, and it was so bad I couldn't believe it. As a kid with bad judgment, I knew it was bad, so that should tell you something.
Now, was it better or worse than National Treasure 2 Book of Secrets?
I would dare to say worse.
I don't know.
Book of Secrets or Book of Shadows?
Well, I can't judge because I've seen Book of Secrets, but I haven't seen Book of Shadows, so I don't know. I can't. I mean, Book of Secrets is kind of eh.
Is the Book of Shadows
No, we need
referring...
Nicolas Cage in this movie. It would make it better.
Is the Book of Shadows referring to the missing emails that were printed out?
Well, where's the Bill Clinton accomplice?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? People laughing at that
Oh,
in the
yeah.
background.
Yeah, we are in the woods.
I think they heard our joke. They love our jokes and that. It's nice to be appreciated, folks.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. So this movie was directed by
Adam Wingard.
Okay, the same guy who directed the horror movie called You're Next.
And The Guest, which I hear is good.
I haven't seen The Guest, but
yeah, I wouldn't have guessed on seeing that.
Yeah, You're Next was a movie that came out the same year as the Purge 2 movies about masked killers trying to invade a home.
Yep.
But I think that movie was made first and that was shelved for a few years, and that came out the same year as like The Purge. Although The Purge made more money, Your Next was more critically praised, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't got any sequels, so I guess you could say The Purge was more successful in the long run.
And this guy's next project is a Death Note adaptation.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. I would honestly be very curious to see that.
I think it's for Netflix, but I'm not sure.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Fill me in on Death Note.
Death Note is like an anime. I don't know too much about it, but I know it's basically about some guy who's kind of effed up in the head and gets a book that he can write people's names in it, and an angel of death goes and kills them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a darker version of that Will Ferrell movie where someone's typing up his life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, if you think about it, it's kind of a rip-off of that R.L. Stine Goosebumps story called The Blob Ate Everything, where a kid has like a typewriter, everything types on the typewriter, people, things happen.
I guess so.
But I have to see like a dark movie trailer of that Will Ferrell movie. Is it called Stranger Than Fiction?
Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah, like a horror movie trailer version. Right. Like, yeah, like, well, yeah, it'd be more plausible than Jim Carrey in a horror movie called The Number 23. The Number 23.
Let's be afraid of
our age right now.
Yeah, for real though.
We should watch that sometime.
Too spooky for me.
Yeah, we hear you, truck.
There's a truck out in the woods.
Yeah, hopefully he gets the truck out of here, but...
But anyways, oh boy, there's another one too.
I know, it's like a truck off, but...
Alright, but in any case, let's actually get back to the review.
Yeah, no, we got plenty of time now.
We got so sidetracked.
That's fine. We don't have a time limit now anymore.
That's true.
Unless we go on for like 18 hours or whatever the time limit is on YouTube.
13 hours, was it?
Benghazi movie?
Again, another Hillary Clinton reference. Oh, all right.
Michael Bay did it.
We're probably gonna get killed, people, before this is posted, but
we have information that could indict.
She's the Blair Witch.
All right. So anyway, the Blair Witch is about these, teenagers. I guess young adults are probably in their early 30s right now.
Yeah, I don't think they actually said, but they were definitely mid-20s,
Yeah.
early 30s, if that. And he said that, this is basically based on the brother of Heather, who was the girl camera person in the first Blair Witch movie.
Yeah, who is that actor again?
The brother you're talking about?
Yeah, the main character.
Yeah, that was James Allen McKeon.
Yeah, we were just saying like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Scottish accent.
Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in The Walking Dead too. That's interesting.
I
I remember him in The Walking Dead. Yeah.
I don't watch Walking Dead, so I can't comment on that.
Triggered, but no.
Yeah. All right. So we also have other people that are in this movie
Yeah.
that join them in the woods. We have this character named Lisa, played by
Kelly
Hernandez.
Hernandez, I think.
I heard
Yeah,
she's
her
an actress that is going to be in a lot more movies recently coming up, because there's a movie called La La Land. The same guy directed Whiplash is directing that one. But also we have, she's going to be in the next Alien movie,
Mhm.
which I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then, of course, I think, as you guys said, were the two, I guess, African-American characters who are kind of
The
sacrificial.
Sacrificial lambs.
Yeah.
Corbin Reed, who played Ashley, and her boyfriend Brandon Scott, who played Peter.
Scott!
And then there were two other people
Who found the footage.
Yeah, who found the footage and posted online this footage. Well, I guess basically we should explain real quick because we're kind of moving into the cast, but
Yeah, the plot pretty much is about the main characters find this footage that someone posted online, so
on
they go.
YouTube specifically.
Yeah, okay. But then they also go to this person, I guess they happen to live nearby, coincidentally, and they meet up with them, they go and explore in the woods, and, shenanigans happens.
Yeah,
To be put in a G-rated format.
pretty much. And
Yeah, who are the actors who played the two people?
Wes Robinson, who
Plays a guy named Lane.
named Lane. Yeah, that was weird calling someone Lane,
I guess
without
he-
Lois or something.
Yeah.
in front of it.
Probably thought Superman was going to save him, but...
And then there was Valerie Curry, who played Talia.
Yeah, we saw. Tell you how cool is in this. Yeah, another DC reference, but anyway, they go in the woods, they're searching around, and then, the same thing like happened in the Blair Witch Project happens, except we have GPS and drones, and honestly, like, how do you get lost in the woods again? It's kind of like those two people, like in Prometheus, that had the holograms, and they're like, I don't know, like geologists or whatever they're called. How'd they get lost in there?
That's a good question. In this, though, I mean, they did kind of at least seem... In the first one, they got lost because we're a bunch of idiots just stumbling through the woods, and Mr. Penis McGee, who knows what he's doing at all times, manages to get lost. And that seemed kind of believable for the time, but it was kind of hard to, in this circumstance, because... like they went in with so much technology. It literally was like, how are you getting all this technology?
Yeah, where'd they get the money for this?
Did you just jack a bunch of stuff from like a military academy's closet? The cameras, the drones, all that stuff.
Yeah, they probably took it from their parents or whatever,
Right.
which are not in this movie whatsoever.
Right. Because too sensitive a topic, going back and risking your own life to go find your sister just because you think she's out in the woods from after 20 years.
Yeah, really. But anyway, we were going through, the area where they're showing like B-roll footage of them driving towards the woods, and we're joking like, "Hey, can they just show us like the witch, like maybe just like a cardboard cut of a witch on like a screen going." Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, really. But we had a hilarious point to bring up about the movie. Have a theory. There's a part in the film where they go to that one Lane guy's house, and he has like a Confederate flag up, and then one of the African American guys like, "Oh man." Yes. But then later we hear about, it's kind of like underground tunnels, like the Underground Railroad. And do you know what Luke said about his theory about who the Blair Witch is?
It's Harriet Tubman.
Boom!
Yeah, the underground like railroad area.
Mind blown, the JFK experience.
And then I guess she's trying to haunt the woods until she finally gets on some currency. But so I think they should
accomplished.
Yeah, they should have made this documentary. They should have waited like built till like 2020, 2021 to make it. The curse is lifted. But then again, I think that Teddy Roosevelt deserves to be on more because he was a president and he did a lot for this country. And if you think about if you erase Harriet Tubman from history, same stuff would have happened. Like Civil War and Union still would have won, and Lincoln still would have been assassinated, kind of thing.
Okay.
But
we're really like we're some tangerines getting on all these tangents. We need to focus on the Blair Witch part. So
yeah, we were saying that Harriet Tubman is the Blair Witch.
Yeah. No, but
oh yeah, and another thing was that when they hear something like really heavy, it's like someone had to be wearing like 400 pounds. Well, wasn't Harriet Tubman very heavy?
That is a good point too. I was the one who was commenting on because a couple things were different in this one than the other ones. They had instead of just little we don't have the money to make good really hectic scenes,
which is why I didn't like about the first one.
Right. In this one there were big booms, crashing sounds, and trees would fall down, and it was almost like if lightning would strike, but there was no light. And then there were times where you would hear things that were out of frame, in the environment, and it would sound almost like a big ox was just walking around in the woods, and it's like how heavy is this witch? Like this is ridiculous. But what do you guys think about what they revealed in this? I think that I'm probably gonna have a little bit of a different perspective here on Tyler because I do appreciate elements of the first one, and this one was interesting too. But they definitely revealed more with their budget, in this than the first one did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the big advantages of this movie is that, for one, there are some scenes where I felt like you should be legitimately scared about, but also this movie definitely had the budget to show us more things, which is really good. Definitely a plus to make scenes more effective. That I think that if they were back in the 1999 first one, it probably would have been a much better movie, at least in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and it was a professional filmmaker this time. Those were just students making it, so I think that's one of the big differences.
And that's also, true. Those two I don't think have really gone to direct anything else.
No
noteworthy besides the first Blair Witch Project movie.
Probably not. Yeah, maybe like a opening reel for Welcome to Downtown Not Importanceville.
Or a Blair Witch porno.
Oh, no. Well, they did have a bunch of cameras. The part where Lisa's character was like, and the other guy was like, okay, hey, breathe, and I think the camera angle was like a bus above where like her nose hit, but you couldn't see her lips. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, this can easily turn into a porno right now.
Yeah, lots of people getting down and dirty, both metaphorically and literally. But
yeah, some people probably got turned on during that scene where Lisa's character was like crawling in that tunnel.
Yeah,
I guess so, like covered in like a bunch of dirt and that.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we should mention one thing. I know in the first one they gave some history, going in to the context of the rumor of the witch, and that there was also a serial killer that really happened, that wasn't argued, that killed something like 7 or 8 kids, and, made them face the corner. And that came back in this one too, which was, interesting. Plenty of Easter eggs in this.
Yeah.
But, where's I going with this? Help me out here, guys. Well,
Were you going with the thing about how those like wood things are like wrapped?
Yes.
What she was stretched on or something?
Yes, they mentioned that this witch, more specifically, in her, being killed, they did the whole, Salem witch trial connection of, these women were not actually witches, but, she was convicted to be one, and
or
so...
was she?
Yeah, or was she? Ta-da! So what they did was they strung her up and hung rocks from her to basically weigh her down and slowly crush her. And so that kind of represents the shape of, the stick person in almost a pentagram-like shape.
Yeah.
Which, I don't think we really got that concrete answer in the last one.
Yeah.
And that was a really interesting piece of, lore, I think, to it.
But at first it's like, okay, some arts, school rejects art, project. But in this one's like, okay, it makes more sense now. And then there's like a reveal. I'm not going to say what happens really.
Mhm.
But when one of them tries to break one of them, what happens? And like, wow.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And I
But
don't,
also serious, too.
I don't recall in the first one them actually, if ever, breaking, one of those figures. I think, if anything, they may have just taken one down. But, so that was an interesting thing to play off of that, honestly, in retrospect, they probably should have played off of.
Yeah. It'd be kind of like that episode of Fairly Odd Parents that have like a you-do doll where they start taking each other's like limbs off. But anyway, I think one big tense moment is another thing I liked more about this one was that the climax was much better. Like they dragged it more out. It was more tense. Like the part where they used the camera reflection to see what was going on and that.
Yeah, you compared it very appropriately to in Clash of the Titans.
The original, the good one.
Was it Perseus?
Yeah.
Using the shield to look
Yeah,
at...
shield reflection of Medusa.
Yeah, to see the reflection of Medusa, because they also talked about how this witch, if you ever saw her, if you looked at her dead on, you would be dead. So, that was another, I guess, interesting bit of lore. And it followed a fairly similar story structure to the first one.
Yeah.
Just with a few more people added.
And I felt like these people were more likable too. Unlike, this one, the first one was like, I felt like they were all annoying and not very likable, but in this one it was like, okay, I care a little bit more about them.
And it's interesting you feel that way. Watching this, I actually kind of felt differently, because at least in the context of the old one, it was some idiots who, just got lost in the woods and didn't know what they were doing. And I felt like they were relatively consistent for real people. It wasn't so much... It was acting, but it wasn't acting because, these were film students, and this is just, the best they could muster. Meanwhile, there were, Lane, I think his name was.
Or more like lame.
Yeah. His performance, I felt throughout the entire thing, maybe it was just how it was cut, but he felt very mechanical and not really, he was just almost a plot device and not...
Yeah, I mean, there's this part where he's confronted in the woods by everyone else, something is revealed, and maybe halfway through the movie, and he's like, he does this really lame reaction, like, oh, you guys, I don't like them, like, I was joking, like, I'm acting very much.
Yeah.
Well, then again, it's hard to really make this movie like, oh, it really happened today's sense, because back in 1999 when this happened, nothing like this was ever pulled. Especially
if it's going to be called, Blair Witch, after the whole initial reaction to the first one. Yeah. Fool us once, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, Or,
I thought it was shame on you, and then
yeah,
got it backward.
Never mind.
Okay, we'll just reverse the clip.
Yeah.
But what we're saying was that, in a way, it's kind of cool that they're making a new one, but at the same time, it's kind of like, yeah, this movie came out like over 10 years too late.
Yeah.
I think in a way, because a lot of stuff has changed, and not just the found footage genre, but also in horror in general.
Yeah, and I think there are certain things, like with the elements they brought in with new technology, that they really could have utilized much better, because they were, used like once, and then it's just like, let's throw that out. Next.
Yeah, I feel like the drone was kind of wasted in this movie.
Yeah, the drone was definitely wasted. And I called something that happened with it. I'm not going to say specifically what for spoilers, but I was like, this is going to go there, and the person's going to go after it, and they're going to get caught. And that's exactly what happened. It was just, cookie cutter.
Yeah, horror movie tropes and cliches and that sort of thing.
And I would argue that was probably more present in this one even than, the original Blair Witch. For better or for worse, because, this one had a higher budget, but it had some stereotypical new horror elements in it that we see a lot. And in that one, it was kind of just, do it as you go.
Oh yeah, there were moments where they were glitching up with the audio and video. And they're like, oh, it's kind of like YouTube poop a little bit.
You can make an entire YouTube poop video out of this, with clips from this movie without editing any of it.
You could.
The trailer for that new Mark Wahlberg movie, I'm gonna call you back. Yeah, this is the year for YouTube Poop's feature-length film debut.
Amen. The King and I. I mean,
how about that weird
the
music?
King and I.
King Harkanayan. It was.
Okay, I get you.
How about that weird music that I said sounded like a Megatron orgasm?
Oh
yes!
So weird.
Oh my god,
it was like. We gotta look that up. Like, what's this song? We gotta say, yeah, it sounds like Megatron orgasm.
Yeah, Lane, I think, was listening to that, and it's like, oh, this is a good sign, just listening to Megatron climaxing for an hour.
It's like
in a steamy car filled with dank memes.
Yeah, with Arthur having his fist down. But I like the one better with was it one of the Yu-Gi-Oh characters? When someone plays a trap card.
Yeah.
Fist. I like that one.
But, so, what did you guys think of What did you guys think of how they concluded this one, and what are some Easter eggs that you guys noticed?
Well, besides the house going in and stick figures, there were some shots going to the basement, but also some weird, I guess, handprints that were also in the first one.
Symbols that we should look up.
Mm-hmm. Well, hieroglyphs are more like picture.
Oh, that's more like Egyptian stuff.
Well, yeah, that's a pictorial kind of system. Modern, language, letters, alphabet, is based off sounds and noises and that.
But there was a straight up language on the wall in the house that was not there before, and that was that's definitely not worth ignoring. That is absolutely very important. Look that up.
Yeah, true. I'm trying to think what else we were supposed to talk about. But I think we covered just about everything.
Those were, I think, some of the big things without giving away,
Yeah, we don't spoil stuff on this review.
Too much. It was interesting, though, the theories behind, the first one being, was this all in their heads and there's just a serial killer out there? Or is there actually a witch and we never got to see it?
Well,
that is definitely more clearly answered, and you can actually kind of see, minor spoiler here, but not really, because I'm not going to go into detail.
Well, I thought they kind of did a little bit of both, which I thought was really cool.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was going to say. A little bit of both happened. So neither answer was wrong. And that was interesting.
Yeah. Anything else to add, Luke, or...
No, not really.
Okay. So, what would you give this movie, Steven?
Well, been thinking about it, and I know that our opinions differ a little bit on it.
Yeah, I know.
I will say I myself am falling a little bit in this case towards a thing I've diagnosed a long time ago called the virgin viewer experience, which is the first of something is, the best, even just, even if other stuff comes out later with some improvements just because of the originality factor. And for me, in this case, I think it actually is giving me a little bit more, in that ballpark towards the first one. So I do... This one did have some strong elements of it, but there was, just in the whole production design and value of it to me, a sense of Hollywood in it that I would have liked to see a little more hands-off to be more faithful to the first one. And I think that's a risk that a lot of sequels take, and I appreciated this one. It was definitely leaps and bounds better than Book of Shadows. Put that in the sewer where it belongs. And it offers a lot of Easter eggs that I think could allow for possibly even later future expansion. I was saying, boys, let's go make the third one in 10 years. But overall, I did like this, and I would give this about a 76%.
Okay. How about you, Luke?
I didn't really have any expectations for this because I actually haven't seen either of the first one or the second one. So, kind of going in with a blank slate. Don't have any prejudices towards this franchise. But I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I didn't know if I would enjoy it at all. But definitely, from what I've seen little bits and pieces of the original, it's definitely a step up from that. I do agree with Steven about how it's a little bit more Hollywoodized because of because they have a bigger budget, and when you have a lower budget, it's not going to be as polished. But I think overall, I'll give it a 70%.
Okay. I feel like the 3 different ways of a sequel to go is kind of like the tightrope kind of experience where, someone's like walking on a high wire, and if they make it without falling down, that means an excellent sequel. Movies like, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, The Dark Knight, and so on. Mm. However, if you fall down, you can fall either one way or the other. If you fall down one side, that means how a sequel cannot be so good. If it's like a copy and paste, almost beat by beat one, kind of like Hangover Part 2. Mm. However, the other way a sequel can fail if it's too different than the first one, kind of like Hangover Part 3, in a way where it was too different in its own way. So that's why it's so difficult to make a sequel. But with this one, I could definitely see a lot of things they redid. I did like the newer stuff they were doing, which is good. But at the same time, there were a lot of parts in the middle that I was kind of a little bit bored about, just slightly a little bit. I like how the director said that the first one was kind of like getting lost in the woods, which for me wasn't really that scary. But in this one, it was more like being chased in the woods, and I felt like that was scary because there's something to be legitimately scared about versus, okay, I'm just an idiot being lost in the woods. That's not really that scary to me. Mm-hmm. But you're being chased in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness without really any help. That's more scary, and you're in isolation and that sort of thing. I did like that we got to see a lot more stuff. I liked how they showed us a little bit of an idea of the Blair Witch. It kind of reminded me of, remember that game Resistance 2? There's these like zombie creatures that would like run towards you. I think they would explode. Yeah. I think it kind of reminded me of that a little bit, which is cool. And I also liked how they did bring up the thing of what about that serial killer a while back. And I love how they did show more of the stick figure things. More of the
big ones.
The idea behind it, and also what would happen if you interacted with it or broke it. Actors I did like. Some actors were very lame, like Lane. Yeah, that guy.
Lane Brain.
Yeah. Alright, so anyway, the Blair Witch movie, I actually think it's one of those rare sequels that I will say is better than the first one. But at the same time, I don't think it's an amazing film by any stretch of the imagination. I don't like it as much as recent horror movies like It Follows, The Conjuring, or Insidious, or The Babadook. But also, I would say that this was a decent flick. I haven't seen Book of Shadows, but I would bet all the money in my wallet that this movie is better than Book of Shadows.
That would be a good bet.
Yeah. Overall, I give Blair Witch about 2.5 stars out of 4.
Okay, I can see that. One thing that occurred to me sitting in silence real quick, and I guess it's just another point of interest, to the story that I think we forgot to mention, was as the story progressed in this one, it was interesting to see that time and space kind of seemed to be affected too. And I wonder how that could be expanded on in the future, if it will be expanded on. Because, as, the days went by, there were a couple of the people who I'm not going to mention, they separate for a while and they meet back up again. And two of the people who separated say, that it's been 5 or 6 days, when the other people thinks that it's only been 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And it's not in their head, because there becomes physical evidence too of time progressing. And I thought that was really interesting, and how for a while there was day and night, and eventually there wasn't day and night, there was only night.
You think maybe it was the Blair Witch putting like a curse over the forest or something?
I started to speculate that, and also, in using the drone, they saw that, the landmarks they were looking for originally as a way back, the forest kind of just grew to the point of not recognizing anything anymore. So I definitely think that the whole technology being thwarted by magic or curses was good in this too. And I guess there's no, real reason to say this now, except just to throw that information at the audience. So yeah.
One final note: when they're in the woods and that, I was thinking to myself, yeah, that's one guy who goes out alone and that sort of thing. And there's this guy who's like, I don't know, going to the bathroom, and that's like, and he's like, oh, I hope you delete this. And I'm thinking to myself, whoever found this footage, did they really think it was necessary to show the guy going to the bathroom?
Filming his piss stream.
Yes.
And then it would be worse as like the that evil tree from like the Evil Dead would show up.
The rape tree.
The rape tree, tentacle porn tree. Yeah.
Oh, that would be horrifying to see that.
Yes.
So anyway, this is Tyler from Anchor Reviews.
The Witch from the Blair Witch. I mean, Stephen from Stephen Lawson Studios.
The missing emails from Hillary's computer.
Yeah, the Blair Witch in this one. Yeah, the real witch in this our universe. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for listening to this. We hope you enjoyed this video of Unscripted on Anchor Reviews, and we hope to make more in the future. Bye.